President, we're ready to begin.
Thank you. Welcome to the West Basin Municipal Water District, Metropolitan Water District Representative Caucus and Special Meeting of the Board of Directors. It is November 12th. It's 12:31. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have to determine a quorum. Mr. General Manager, please do the roll call.
Happy to do so. Director Tommy Favai. Here. Director Desi Alvarez. Director Scott Houston. Director Don Deere. Here. President Gloria Gray.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next item, public comment. Do we have anyone from the public who wishes to comment?
We have not received any requests for public comment prior to this meeting, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there's any member of the public that would like to speak under public comment, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. And Madam President, I do not see a request for public comment.
Thank you very much. Next item, discussion items. Do we have any items for discussion?
Yes, Madam President, we do have two items related to Metropolitan Water District. The first is a very timely presentation. We have a presentation on Palisades Reservoir Helicopter Dipping Facility. And for this presentation, we do have James Spicer, a Facility Design Unit Manager for Metropolitan Water District. Go ahead.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Spicer. Welcome, Mr. Spicer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate you all having me here today. Very happy to talk about this project with you all. So again, this afternoon I'll be presenting giving a relatively short presentation regarding our helicopter dip tank that was recently installed at Metropolitan's Palisades Reservoir. Next slide, please. So, as many of you are probably already familiar, the Palos Verdes Reservoir is located in the city of Rolling Hills Estates within the Palos Verdes Peninsula. Next slide, please. Now, the Palos Verdes Reservoir, it is a treated water reservoir, and it is located on the eastern slope of the Palos Verdes Hills, which is within a very high fire hazard zone, which is indicated here on the map in the top right. The reservoir site itself includes various facilities, including the reservoir, a district house and field office. We have a chlorination station, service connections, and a small water quality lab on site. Now, it should be noted that in the state of California, treated water reservoirs must be covered for California regulation, and therefore they are inaccessible to provide support for aerial firefighting. Next slide. Okay, so a little bit of history on how the helicopter dip tank project came to be. So, in the aftermath of the Pacific Palisades and Eaton Canyon wildfires earlier this year, several agencies in the Southern California area organized workshops and other partnering efforts to try and identify potential solutions that could potentially minimize impacts due to wildfires. Now, during this period of time, the County of Los Angeles Fire Department reached out to Metropolitan to discuss opportunities to partner and provide additional local water resources in the area for fire suppression. Fire department officials emphasized the importance of having larger capacity water resources available, given the impending fire season this year, as they noted that there were drier conditions in the area of the Palos Verdes Peninsula. So our discussions with the fire department included the installation of a helicopter dip tank at the reservoir site, the Palos Verdes Reservoir site, to help protect the surrounding community as well as Metropolitan's own assets. And as part of that initial planning process, Metropolitan discussed the proposed project with local agencies, including West Basin Municipal Water District, California Water Service, the LA County Board of Supervisors, and the City of Rolling Hills Estates. And I have to mention, every agency was very supportive of this project and has continued to be so throughout this effort. Metropolitan's external affairs team also performed public outreach in the area to nearby residents to inform them of the project, its potential benefits to the community, and as well as the expected construction activities that will be taking place at the reservoir site. Next slide, please. Now, this helicopter dip tank project is also consistent with Metropolitan's district-wide climate adaptation and fire management planning. Open top tanks and supporting infrastructure provide a convenient, reliable water source that allows helicopters to collect water to fight nearby fires quickly. The project also highlights also has the benefit of risk reduction and increased wildfire preparedness in the region. So the proposed tank for the reservoir site that's shown here in this photo is approximately 4,000 gallons of storage capacity, and it will be able to refill at a rate of about 750 gallons per minute. And that is per fire department requirements. The supply line that connects the tank, that fills the tank, is located such that water will be available at all times, either via our Palos Verdes feeder or the second level feeder. And that's under all of Metropolitan's operating scenarios. Next slide, please. Okay, so a few technical details about the dip tank. So the dip tank utilizes an external control valve to control the flow of water to the tank and an internal float to control the level of water. The tank is supplied by an 8-inch high-density polyethylene potable water line, which, as I mentioned, is connected directly to Metropolitan's Palos Verdes feeder. Water is then supplied by manually opening an isolation valve that's shown here in the bottom right corner. However, the tank is equipped with wiring to allow for future remote controlled operations. And we did install spare conduits to support power and control wiring installation. The dip tank utilizes an air gap for backflow prevention to protect Metropolitan's distribution system. The water enters the tank through a piping manifold that discharges above the water surface elevation. And there is also an overflow weir that prevents water from rising to the level of the manifold in the event that the internal float control fails. And finally, the tank is equipped with 2 drain valves. You can see that in the photo in the top right there. And those 2 can be used to drain, release water when the tank is not in surface. Now, one thing that I'd like to highlight regarding the dip tank, and it's less to do with some of the technical aspects of the design and more related to the effort and schedule associated with the project. So Metropolitan staff is able to execute this project from including initial conceptual design, siting at the Palos Verdes reservoir site, design, procurement of the tank, commissioning, testing, construction, all within about the span of about 4 to 5 months. And I'm very proud of the team's effort in this, really being able to deliver such a high quality project with thoughtfulness and urgency. And it really provides tangible, critical benefit to the community. Next slide, please. Okay, so where does that put us today? So as I mentioned, we recently completed construction in October last month. And we also recently completed system operation training for Metropolitan's distribution staff in the area. We're currently coordinating with LA County Fire Department staff to have them trained on the operation of the system as well. And we are finalizing a hard copy of the system operations manual that will be distributed to Metropolitan's operations staff as well as LA County Fire. Now, on October 25th, the LA County Fire Department reached out to Metropolitan and informed us that they were declaring a red flag day in the Palos Verdes Peninsula area. And they asked the tank be filled for use. Happy to report that the tank was filled, it was available, and thankfully not needed for any firefighting support. Now, as some of you may be aware, we do have a small dedication event that's coming up on November the 19th. And as I understand it, we are going to have the treat of seeing the tank filled, or rather filled, and also a helicopter fly in and do a fill from the tank. So if you have not experienced that, I recommend it. I was recently on site at our Deaver facility for a similar type of test and demonstration testing, and it's quite amazing. So if you have not RSVP'd already, I would recommend it, and I hope to see you all out there on site. Excellent. All right, and that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has.
Thank you, Mr. Spicer. Are there any questions from the directors? Director Dara Pabai?
No question.
All right. Mr. Spicer, I look forward to the ceremony, dedication ceremony. I will be there, and I believe Director Houston, so I look forward to it and seeing you there. And thank you for the presentation this afternoon.
Excellent. Very well. Thank you.
All right. Mr. General Manager, the next item.
Yes, Madam President, the next item is item 4B. It's a climate adaptation master plan for water, or Camp for Water quarterly update. And for this presentation, we have Liz Croson, the Chief Sustainability, Resilience, and Innovation Officer of Metropolitan Water District.
Welcome, Ms. Croson.
Thank you, Chair Gray, and good afternoon, directors and West Basin officials. It's great to be here. Sorry I couldn't be there in person this time, but I'm glad to provide you with an update on our Camp for Water activities. Next slide, please. I gave a similar update to our board's One Water Committee last month. So some of this might be a repeat for those of you on the Metropolitan Board, but I'm also happy to answer any additional questions of the work we've been doing the last few weeks. So I'm going to provide an update on the progress and activities of the last quarter. As you all know, the board approved our 5-year implementation strategy, which includes tools and policy guidance that we are implementing. Next slide, please. So just as a reminder of, the Camp for Water process is really designed to be an adaptive and flexible decision-making framework that allows Metropolitan, in partnership with its member agencies, to continuously assess the risks and vulnerabilities related to climate impacts and set the reasonable targets and policy directives so that we can identify and implement solutions that really make sense for changing conditions. And we're really attempting to do that in a way that is both nimble and responsible financially. And so with that, we will continue to have these regular updates and reports and monitor information so that we can make sure that our board has the most up-to-date and transparent information possible to make decisions moving forward. Next slide, please. So just as a reminder of what's in the 5-year implementation strategy that was approved by our board in April, I kind of put it into 3 different buckets when I think about what's in there and what the team that is implementing Camp for Water across the district is focused on. And I do want to mention that, this initiative, Camp for Water, is not something that is solely within the Sustainability Office. It is a team of folks made up of managers and subject matter experts in the different disciplines of Metropolitan. So our Camp for Water team includes people from our water resources group, our engineering group, our finance group, as well as our operations team and DEI and external affairs, as well as sustainability. So it really is a multifunctional approach to climate adaptation. And so the 3 buckets that we're pursuing in our implementation approach include the programs and policies and initiatives. So this is where we're really looking at how do we integrate and operationalize climate adaptation into the way that we do planning, which is a big portion of this, but also how do we look at it in terms of our policies and our operations. We also are working, kind of behind the scenes, and this is a lot of the work that our water resources and engineering teams do is conducting the studies and the risks assessments to identify new strategies. So we know that much of the work that we've been focused on so far in Camp for Water is assessing the projects we already know about, like Pure Water Southern California, like the Delta Conveyance Project. But there is also need and room for us to think about some new strategies as well. And so that's a kind of behind the scenes focus. And then, of course, the assessments are where we're evaluating individual projects like the ones I just mentioned, as well as now transitioning into looking at how these projects will perform together in portfolios. And so really moving into this important step of identifying which projects and programs are complementary to each other to help meet our long-term resilience goals. Next slide, please. So in this quarterly update, these are the kind of areas of focus that we provided some new information on. These are some exciting developments that are really, again, helping us move forward on some key initiatives, but also really helping us move forward on helping the board make some big decisions in the coming months and years. Next slide, please. So I'm going to go through each of these. The first one is an update to our Integrated Resources Plan needs assessment. So as I think you are all probably pretty familiar with, our water resources team has conducted its integrated resources planning since the mid-90s. Its most recent iteration was a needs assessment completed in 2020. And that is really foundational to the Camp for Water process because it identified 4 future scenarios for us to sort of plan within. So it provides those kind of bookends of what are sort of the worst case scenarios when it comes to climate, increased demands, lower supplies, all the way to less severe impacts, so that we can really plan for this range of potential futures. So the IRP again was the most recent needs assessment was conducted in 2020, and so the team has gone back and updated some of the assumptions underlying that information, and that includes demand. So we have new information from the state related to demographics, and so that really allows us to be more accurate and to align what's currently happening on the ground with how we're doing our planning. We also updated our assumptions to include recent studies conducted by the Department of Water Resources related to the State Water Project. We also included some potential reductions that that are anticipated through Colorado River negotiations. We set our storage assumptions to current levels as those have continued to increase. And then we also have baked in the implementation projects underway for that Metropolitan is pursuing for the State Water Project dependent areas. So again, really just trying to make sure that we are using the best information possible in our baseline assessment so that when we look at new projects and new investments, it's based on the most current information. Next slide, please. So some of the takeaways from this update, which I don't think will be surprising, but the updated scenario C baseline shows that the reliability issues are really around reduced supplies. So supply driven around, because if you remember within the needs assessment, scenario C is a future scenario where climate change is severe, but demands don't necessarily increase that significantly. Population stays around the same, everything else is sort of stabilized, but we anticipate reduced supplies due to climate change. Scenario D, on the other hand, includes both severe climate change and increased demands, and so we do see that continues to intensify under scenario D with the new information related to demographics, but mostly related to the anticipated reductions in the State Water Project and on the Colorado River. Some other things that we want to make sure that we quantify when we are thinking about what the future is going to look like is the implementation of conservation as a way of life. So we want to make sure when we're thinking about future demands that we're thinking about changes that might occur because of that recent legislation in demands. And we're also working on how to reflect the benefits resulting from the recent settlement agreement with San Diego County Water Authority and that potential exchange water that has become available. And so, I really want to emphasize that this updated baseline really is setting us up well to do this next step of the portfolio analysis because it really gives us a more accurate picture of what our current baseline is, what the potential gaps are, so that we can fully assess the investments. Next slide, please. So the next area, just to update you a bit on, is where we are on those assessments. So if you all recall, through the implementation strategy, the board approved 6 evaluative criteria that we're using to evaluate, again, both individual projects and now portfolios. We did test the criteria and refine it using some conceptual projects. We've been working on our approach to individual projects. We have so far evaluated different stages of Pure Water Southern California, sites, reservoir. We're working on Delta Conveyance Project and looking at probably conducting a few others individually so then we can put them together in portfolios, which is kind of what we're working on now. Next slide, please. And when you think about portfolios, this is kind of one way graphically that we've been thinking about it. A portfolio itself is really meant to also be adaptive, and we're not looking to come up with, one perfect portfolio that will define our investments for the next 20 or 30 years. What we know is there's going to be some foundational components to achieve our reliability and resilience goals. And some of those will be, ensuring that we have system resilience in our existing infrastructure, that we're enhancing our flexibility. We continue to do water efficiency. We have to secure our imported sources and look at local agency supply. So those are kind of the foundational components that would be in any future portfolio. And it's really up to the board and our leadership to decide, how to kind of put those together and which levers to pull how much, and to make sure that we are investing in things that also can be nimble and adapt to changing conditions. And then there's kind of the larger investments related to adaptation strategies that we've been talking about, whether that's new flex, new core, or new storage. And again, we're going to be evaluating a series of those so that we can kind of mix and match and make decisions based on current conditions. Next slide, please. I have this slide in here because I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that we have been actively engaging with our member agencies around the development of portfolios. It's been really important that we not only look at individual projects, that we look at how these things not only work together operationally and in terms of building resilience, but also financially. How much it's going to cost and what that impact could be on our rates. And so we did have an additional member agency manager meeting recently, and we have come up with a few different portfolios where we cluster projects around kind of the imported supply model, and also sort of what it would look like to do pure water and some other kind of regional investments. And the goal is to kind of, come up with some hybrid portfolios that draw from both of those buckets in order to come up with the most adaptive portfolio possible. Next, and the next time we will be meeting with member agencies is likely in January, and then we will be coming back to our Camp for Water task force with some of our initial results related to the portfolio assessments in February. Next slide, please. So this is a nice link to the previous presentation that James gave around fire management. So as he mentioned, we are conducting a district-wide fire risk management planning process. So we do have a lot of fire management measures in place already as a district, but we also have recognized the need to systematically look at our most critical facilities that also overlap with the high and very high fire zones as defined by CAL FIRE. So as a part of our climate adaptation efforts and really thinking about specific climate vulnerabilities to our system and to our member agencies, we have mapped out these most critical facilities, and we're starting to do on-site assessments of each of them, both in terms of what they might need for landscaping changes as well as structural hardening. Next slide, please. And this one just really kind of lays out those different components that we're looking at. So again, landscape management is around, providing that defensible space, providing landscaping that is drought and fire resilient, but also wherever possible, trying to achieve other benefits as well, like habitat and wildlife and security and aesthetics. So we are developing some sustainable landscaping guidelines that will be district-wide for all of our facilities. And then we're also looking at our structures with our engineering team to ensure that we're putting in even those, kind of easy to switch out venting that are ember resistant, and looking at the types of materials that we're using around our facilities. We have a very robust emergency response system, as I think you all know, and was certainly experienced during the most recent fires in LA County in January. Next slide, please. So the last kind of area of update that I gave on this quarterly update, the fourth area, is really around, again, us working to operationalize climate adaptation across the district. So we're looking at Metropolitan's administrative code, which is regularly updated to reflect any sort of changes in policy or any way that we are evolving in terms of our terminology or the board adopted policies. And so we will be updating the administrative code to reflect the role of climate action and climate adaptation at Metropolitan, both in terms of the oversight of the board and committee, as well as some of the guiding documents and policy statements around our work on climate adaptation. Next slide, please. So just to share again, some of the next steps will be, we are now compiling test portfolios with the member agencies and working on those assessments with the team. As I mentioned, we're completing our on-site fire risk assessments, and we will be including the admin code provisions on climate adaptation in the coming admin code update. So I really appreciate the opportunity to share the progress that we're making on Camp for Water and our climate resilience efforts overall, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Just a comment, Chair. Great presentation. Look forward to the finished product.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Director Deere, any comments?
All the comments, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for the update. It's always interesting to hear the update. So thank you, Ms. Crosum.
Thank you, Director Gray.
General Manager, thank you so much. Mr. General Manager, item 5, director's comments, future agenda items. Directors, do you have any future comments or future agenda items?
Nope.
None.
Is there anyone there who has any comments?
I do not see any
Okay.
additional comments.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you very much for everyone who attended. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.